Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear my voice? Okay. Is there any question from the last lectures? Any question from the past lectures? Okay. During the past lectures, in this chapter, we firstly talked about security. We said that how what is security and how we can keep something secure, keep our assets in computer network secure. We talked about cryptography, authentication mechanism, and message integrity. And after that, we present an example of a secure application. We talk about secure email. It's an example of secure application. You can repeat this structure, the structure presented for email, for secure email, for the rest of applications. Then we go to, we went to layer 4 and we talked about TLS, creating a secure TCP connection. After that, we went to layer 3 and we talked about IPsec, how we can create a secure connection in layer 3. And today I want to discuss about creating security connections in physical layer, especially in wireless networks, wireless and mobile networks. Why? Because when we talk about wired network, we have a wire, okay, and data only transmit over that wire. So if someone cut the wire, I couldn't send or receive data. So Trudy cannot sit in a wired network, sit between the connection in a wired network. Maybe Trudy, yes, Trudy can, for example, hijack. Trudy can crack, for example, a router, and then using that cracked router, Trudy can sniff the data. Okay, this is the only way that Trudy can sniff my data, can sit between my connection between me and, for example, Alice, or me and Bob. Okay, so in wired network, I can say that Trudy cannot come and sniff or disrupt my connection. But in wireless network, everything is different. Why? Because as we talked in chapter 7, in wireless network, we are using wireless medium. In wireless medium, the data as signals is propagated over the air. So simply Trudy can sniff my data. Just Trudy needs to sit in the pass in front of my antenna, my sender antenna, and sniff my data. It's completely simple. And also, I don't know, I couldn't understand that Trudy is sniffing my connection. I never I can understand this. Okay. So when we talk about wireless networks, security became challenging. At least through the can create some noise over my channel, my sending channel, and using this simple uh, method, Turing can disconnect my connection. It's very easy. In Farsi we said جنگ electronic war. Okay, if you go to military troops, military units, you can hear something about electronic war. There are some special devices they are working on this to disrupt the wireless connections, because most of military groups are using wireless networks to connect to each other. So it's common in military world that some companies some companies produce electronics in the field of electronic devices in the field of electronic war. Okay, so let me today talk about security in wireless networks, especially security in Wi-Fi and cellular networks. First, we talk about wireless LAN networks, because as we know, you can find wireless LANs or Wi-Fi's all around the world, and in each home. In each home, you can find wireless LANs or Wi-Fi. Okay. For example, this is my home and this is my access point. Okay, and there are some devices connected to my access point, to my network. Okay, and this mobile device, this laptop, decided to join to my network, decided to associate with my network. But what does this laptop should do? In simplest form, there is no authentication mechanism in my access point, and this mobile device can find my SSID and it can request to join to my network. Okay, this is the simplest form of joining to a network. But mostly we are adding some passwords to our Wi-Fi's. So this device can find my SSID, my wireless network. But if it decided to join to my network, to associate it to my network, it needs to know the password. So the user should enter the password, and then if it's correct, then the device would be joined to my network, would be associated to my network. Okay. But what will happen if someone cracked my password? Nothing. He or she can join to my network without my notification. Okay. Someone cracked my Wi-Fi and use my bandwidth, use my network, my internet volume for itself. and maybe he or she can start an attack from my networks. So I'm the person who is responsible for this attack. Why? Because the hacker or the cracker is used my network. Okay, so I am the responsible, not the attacker. What we can do is not interesting. Maybe in a home network, maybe someone say that okay, my network is on for a few hours, and after that I'm make it off. Okay, but what about a company Wi-Fi? What about a university Wi-Fi? Those Wi-Fis are always on. Okay, if you go to if you go to the university right now, you can find some access points in the school. In the schools, they are connected to internet. Okay, so in this case, we have not the limitation of passwords or the limitation of on or off times, and we can use access points forever. Okay, so in this case, we need an extra mechanism for authentication. Why? Because I couldn't trust to passwords, to simple passwords on access point. Okay. Someday, one day, the cracker can break the passwords. So I need something more than a simple password. Maybe someone says that okay, you can, for example, use MAC authentication mechanism. It's not important. If I use something like a Wireshark tool, okay, even something like Wireshark. Simply, I can find the MAC addresses in the network, and using that MAC addresses, I can find every person who are connected to the access point. It's very simple. And if I found that MAC address, simply I can download a specific application to change my MAC address in my network card. Okay, I can change it simply, and then I can access to the network. So it's very easy. It's not hard to break this security mechanism. I need something else. I need an authentication mechanism, an extra authentication mechanism. In this extra authentication mechanism, I need a server. I need a remote server. When this device, this laptop, this mobile device, tries to connect to my network, firstly, I should authenticate this device. It should prove its identity to me. If it needs to connect to my network, firstly, it should prove that who is it. Okay, it should prove itself. Okay, for example, I am blah blah. But how? So first, I need this authentication server. It's where is it? It's somewhere in my network. This server is somewhere in my network. I don't know. Maybe in wireless network, maybe in wired network. I don't know, but it's a server inside my network. And when this device tries to connect to this network, to this access point, its request should be forwarded to this authentication or this authentication server. Okay, server, this mobile device wants to join to the network. Is it allowed? Yes or no? let me know. Is it allowed? And then the authentication server can check its list and say, okay, this device is allowed. No, this device is not allowed. Block it. So everything is simple. I have a strong server. It can manage my connection. And this authentication server is somewhere in my network. And this mobile device firstly should be authenticated by this AS server, this authentication server. Otherwise, it couldn't join to the network. So, to do this, firstly, this mobile device starts an association with the AP, and during this association, it discovers the security capabilities of the network. How? The AP. As we talked about the AP predictably sends its information, especially its encryption and authentication information, to the rest of the network. It's propagates this information in itself. Okay. The mobile device can hear this information. So when this mobile device wants to join, to associate with the AP, it should request for some of those specific authentication and encryption mechanisms. The AP prepare a list of those mechanisms, but the AP should request some specific form of those algorithms. But this request is not important. Why? Because this mobile device still does not join to my access point. Okay? This device not yet authenticated, not yet received encryption keys or something like that. Okay? Once it requests for those forms, then the second step, the AS received this request, the request from the mobile device, and the AP knows that, okay, this mobile device has the common field key. I have a simple password on my access point. Okay, so the device find it and use it to connect to the access point. Okay, so the mobile device already have the shared common secret or the password. The AP will forward this information to the authentication server over the network. And now, this mobile device is connected to the authentication server. Now, the mobile device can present its password. Okay, this is my password. This is the shared common password, shared common secret in the network. And then the authentication server and the mobile device can authenticate each other and exchange their encryption, and they exchange their nonce, exchange their shared secrets. I don't know, everything that we talked about them in the past. They can exchange those information together. Okay, and based on those exchange information. The mobile device and the authentication server, especially the mobile device, can drive the symmetric session keys. Also, this happens here. This happens here in the AS2. Okay, in both sides. We talked about this in the past. And after that, this device, this mobile device, is allowed to use the network based on these symmetric session keys. So, using this mechanism, this mobile device always sends its information to the access point. This information are moved toward the authentication server, and in the authentication server, this device, in this information are checked, and if it's true, if it's true, it's correct, those information can be forwarded toward the internet. Okay. Otherwise, the authentication server can deny the access. Today's the newest security mechanism in wireless LAN is WPA3. It's the newest strategy in wireless LANs. Here you can see that this the mobile device and the authentication server, they have their shared secret, the initial shared secret, the passwords. Both of them has this one, and the mobile device asks the authentication server to authenticate. Okay. Firstly, the authentication server send announce to the mobile device, and mobile device hashed that announce with the shared key, and then that announce. They are hashed using HMAC, using the HMAC strategy, and that hash mechanism, hash value, is sent over this connection toward the server, and also with this message from the mobile device to the AS, we can see we have the HMAC and also announce from the mobile side. They are sent toward the AS. Okay. Here in the AS side, AS knows its nouns, and also AS knows the shared key. So simply, the AS can create this HMAC value itself and check it with this one. If it's true, they are similar, so the mobile device is authenticated. Otherwise, we can say, okay, no, it's not an authenticated system. Okay, and also this nouns is sent by the mobile device to prohibit, to deny the replay attacks. Okay, until now, the AS, the mobile device, prove its identity to the AS. And after this one, after this step, in the third step, The AES should distribute a symmetric session key. It's a shared key. We talked about this one in the past. We said that, okay, there are some symmetric and asymmetric mechanisms, and the symmetric keys are simple. They need lower power, and they need lower computational. They have lower computational complexities. Okay. So, in third step, the AES sends a symmetric session key, a shared symmetric session key, or for example, an AES secret key toward the mobile device. This key is shared because both sides, the mobile device and the AES, can use it to send and receive information. It's a symmetric key. AES is symmetric encryption standard. And this key is session key, is a session key. It means that this key is valid for the current session. It means that if the mobile device leaves the network, this key would be expired. Yes. This key only can be used for the current session, in the current session. We cannot repeat it in the next, for the next sessions. Okay? Cannot use it. It's used only for the current session. So please look on this concept. It's a shared symmetric session key. It's shared, used by both AES and mobile device. It's symmetric, so with lower power consumption for encryption, and it's a session key. It's only valid for this session. And now, after this, the mobile device receives this shared secret key, and now the mobile device create a secret channel with the AP. This channel is encrypted. The data over this channel is encrypted using the shared symmetric session key. Okay. Okay. So using this strategy, we authenticate the mobile device and give a shared key to the mobile device, and then that mobile device can communicate, can encrypt its communication with the access point using that shared key. And at the same time, this AES will inform the access point about that shared key. Okay? The AES, in the third step, the AES sends the shared key to the mobile device, and in the fourth step, before the fourth step, the AES will say to the AP, okay, this mobile device use this secret key. So now the mobile device and AP, both of them, know the shade key, so they can use it simply. Here you can see the protocol stack of this mechanism. Here in the wire side, you can see the radius server is an authentication server. You can see this radius server is over on top of UDP in TCP/IP mechanism, and here in the wireless side, you can see we can use EAP over LAN to communicate between with the AES. And commonly between these two sites, we use EAP TLS. Look at this one, TLS, to communicate, to make a communication between them. That is something interesting. Here, this mobile device, look at this one here. This mobile device is in layer 2, is working in layer 2. Okay? EAP over LAN. It's layer 2. And now here in the right side, we are talking about layer 4 and layer 5 application layer. So we use this EAP TLS mechanism to send information between the both sides, receiving information from left side, from layer 2, maybe layer 3 or something like that, and in the right side, it's worked with layer 5, with the application layer. DAP means that Extensible Authentication Protocol. It's defined in RFC 3748. It's an end-to-end request response protocol between the mobile device and the AES. Okay. We have some other security mechanism in wireless LAN, but this step we don't want to talk more about them. Let me talk about security in cellular networks. In cellular networks, we have a wider network. What does it mean? It means that more people, more devices are standing inside the communication range of the cell. It means that there are more security risks in the network. More people are in the network that who can receive my data. When we talk about wireless LAN, we talk about a network with a range of, for example, 20 meter, 30 meter, or something like that. Okay. So if someone hacked my network, or if someone used my network, if he or she is sitting somewhere around me, maybe my neighborhood, on top, on bottom, on the left, on the right side, I don't know. The truth is somewhere around me. But when I'm talking about a cellular network, I know that this, in this case, Maybe a cellular network has a communication range of 30 kilometers. Wow, it's great. 30 kilometers. So I don't know where is Trudy. He can receive my signals. He can interrupt my signals. He can hijack. Trudy can hijack my signals. Okay. So the level of risk in cellular networks is higher than the level of risk in Wi-Fi network. So we have to be clear about the authentication and encryption in mobile devices. Just think about this. Everybody can hear the voice of other people in the network. Can you imagine? Just think. You can hear the voice of other guys around yourself. They are talking about everything. So you can be a good spy, very good spy. This cellular network, has the best capability for spying in its heart. For example, when we talk about Haj Qasim Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, if you read the reports about them about the last night, you can see that the Americans and the Israel they sniff, they hear, they track the cell phones of them, they track the cell phone of Haj Qasim Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis. Okay, they authenticate them using their voices. So the cellular network is not something safe. Spies can enter to this network and record and sniff, record and hear other voices. That is interesting. Everybody can hear my voice, so I couldn't say anything. Couldn't say everything on my phone call, because everything can hear my voice. Okay, so it's very interesting to firstly authenticate each mobile devices in the network, and secondly, it's really important to encrypt each connection in the mobile devices in cellular networks. Authentication and encryption in cellular networks. Okay, let me start. I have a mobile phone, I have a cell phone with a SIM card, and I make it on. Okay, my cell phone tries to associate with the nearest BTS, with the nearest base station, with the nearest node B. Okay, it's make a communication with the nearest node B around itself, and after that it sends information. The information is stored inside the SIM card. We have a SIM card here. This one here. Here we have a SIM card on the cell phone. In that SIM card, we have some identification. We use those identification to authenticate ourselves to the network, and also authenticate the network itself using those stored information in the SIM card. Okay, and this is the biggest difference between a Wi-Fi network and a cell phone network. In Wi-Fi network, just I need a wireless LAN card, network card, and just I need a password to connect to a Wi-Fi. It's very simple. But here in cell phones, in cellular networks, we have special SIM cards. I can copy it. Okay, I can copy this SIM card, and if someone copy my SIM card, the network couldn't identify my identity, that copied version. Okay, the network couldn't identify which of them is correct. So someone can copy my SIM card, and then he can make phone calls, and I should pay for them, for those cards, because I am the person who is registered on the network. But someone else copy the information inside my SIM card, and then he or she can can join to my network and use my accounts. We talked about those mechanisms in the past chapter. Okay, so the server in the cellular network can identify me, can authenticate me based on the information inside my SIM card. We should be aware, we should be care about our SIM cards because of this. That SIM card is my global identity. It contains shared keys. And when I join to a network, my cell phone sends those keys, those global identities, to the base station. For example, if I go to Iraq. Yes, Hannah. Everything can be monitored over a wireless network, over a cellular network. Everything are monitored. For example, I'm coming to Iraq. Okay, for example, I will travel to Iraq, and in Iraq, I try to use my cell phone. Okay, I make it on and make a phone call. When I make my cell phone on, the cell phone finds the best network around myself and sends my SIM card identities, my global identity to that network. Using this information, the Iraqi telecommunication company will know who am I, because I have a global identity in my SIM card. Using that identity, the telecommunication company will know who am I. You know who I am. Okay? And then it knows that, okay, this guy is from Iran. So telecommunication will forward my connection to Iran. To my Iranian telecommunication company. It will forward to my connection to Iran. Using this strategy, after I travel back to Iran, my telecommunication company will say, okay, this is your bill. You made some phone calls when you were in Iraq. How? Because of global identity in my SIM card. I am authenticated in Iraq. So here, look at this one here. There are some identity, global identity in my SIM card. I'm sending them to the base station. For example, let's suppose that make it for, say for example, he is okay. Okay. After that, it will return, because this one here is my global keys inside my SIM card. The shared key between my home network and my SIM card, my mobile. Okay. So my home network can check my identity and prove that okay, he's a registered guy. Okay. It will return my information to the visitor network. And the visitor network now know that okay, I know who is he, and he can connect and use the network. And now the mobile device starts a communication with the base station to create some keys, some session keys. We use this key, this session key between the base station and the mobile device. Look at this one. We have another key, the shared key between the HSS here and the mobile device. This is something else. We use it for the first step of authentication. But now we are using this key, the shared key between the base station and the mobile station. The mobile device communicate with the base station, and the base station drive that shared key. that shade session key and turn it back to the mobile device. Now the mobile device can encrypt its communication with the base station over the 4G link. If I want to compare this strategy with the authentication strategy in Wi-Fi, I can say the whole of this one, all of this one. They are similar to the AAP in Wi-Fi, but especially most of the time in Wi-Fi we are not worried about, for example, business relationship or something like that. Okay, most of the time. For example, I have an access point in my home, and my wife, my children, my guests can come and use my access point. I'm not worried. They are not worried about the fees, about the money, about the bandwidth. They simply just receive a key and connect to my access point and use it. Use the bandwidth. Okay, it's very simple. But here, when we talk about a cellular network, we have a trust relationship, business relationship, especially when we are somewhere else. So we have a business relationship between this visited network and this home network, between these two guys. For example, if I make a phone call in Iraq, I'm from Iran. My SIM card is from Iran. Okay? The Iraqi telecommunication company must have a business relation with the Iranian telecommunication company. Otherwise, I couldn't make a phone call. They must have this business relationship. It's something more than a simple authentication and encryption mechanism. So look at this one here. We have some steps here, one by one. You can see them by some dash lines here. Look at this one. The mobile device is attached to the base station. The base station sends those attached information to the MME server, to mobile management entity. The MME server sends those information to my home subscriber service or HSS server. And now I'm authenticated. My information are sent toward my home network HSS. Okay. And then the HSS server can authenticate me. Here we have an authentication request, and now the HSS server will reply with the authentication response. Okay, and here look at this one with some keys. We have some authentication token, expected authentication response token, and some keys. The HSS server will allow this MME server to authenticate my device. Okay, this one. The HSS server will respond to MME, and the MME will send those authentication tokens or those expected authentication response tokens to my device. Those authentication tokens contains some information about the encryption and the share key between the HSS and the mobile device. Okay, and based on this information, the mobile device can authenticate the network, and the network can authenticate this mobile device. And now, the mobile device will respond with request for authentication in this visited network. And the enemy will make it okay with some keys. Okay, it creates some authentication keys and something like that. Look at this one here. Here, the HSS will send this X response HSS. These values and these keys are kept by the MME server. Here, this X are HSS and these keys. They are kept by the visitor network here. Okay, and now here, the mobile device will ask for authentication. Will response here. We have the enemy sends some authentication token to the mobile device, and the mobile device should respond to that message. So here we have a response from the mobile device, response of M. Okay, this response contains some information. The mobile device calculates this information based on its secret key and based on this secret key between HSS and the mobile device. Okay? The mobile device creates those information, drive those information, and put them in this response. And the enemy would check this response with the X response comes from the HSS in the past step. Okay? This HSS creates this X response. It kept by the enemy, and now my mobile device create another response. Response of M. It sends this response to the enemy. The enemy received in the past. It received the X response, and now simply it can compare this response with the response of comes from the HSS side. If they are matched, it means that my mobile device is the person who is mobile device is authenticated. He is the right guy. Okay. Why? Because the enemy keep this XRSS and ask from this HSS for this. And now the mobile device send a similar key, similar information toward the enemy. So both of them, both HSS and the mobile device, both of them say something similar. So I can say, okay, this mobile device is the right one. And now everything is correct. So the enemy will say to the base station, okay, he is authenticated and can join and use the network services. And now my mobile device can make a key derivation phase with the base station. In the past step, we make it clear for the base station that this mobile device is authenticated, and now my mobile device start to drive some keys with the base station. And we are using AES technology, AES encryption standard for this one. Okay. In 4G, the enemy server is responsible to make authentication decision. Okay. In 4G, the enemy server is responsible for this authentication. This server make decision about the result of authentication. But in 5G, this is a home network. This is a home network rule. That is interesting. Something has been changed in 5G. The home network authenticates its mobile device, which is in another network. Okay? And enemy in 5G networks plays role of a middleman. However, still this enemy can reject my connection. Still. But the main person who make the final decision about the application is the home network. It's something different comparing with the 4G. In the 4G, the enemy is the responsible of this making decision. But in 5G, no, the home network make this decision. Also in 4G, we use shared keys, but in an advanced method, in an advanced way. In 5G, those keys are not shared. We don't use shared keys, especially when we talk about IoTs. We are working with IoT. Also, in 4G, still we transmit IMSI messages in clear text to the base station, but in 5G we use public cryptographic algorithms to send this information. This IMSI information is very important for authentication and controlling the network. Okay, so in 5G we encrypt those information using a public and private key. Okay, using public keys. Okay, that is enough for today. Today we learned that wireless in security network is very important. Why? Because in security network we are worried about the medium. The medium is air, and everybody who is around us, who can hear my signals, so those guys can sniff my communications and use it for different reasons in military operations, for spying, or making everything. Okay, so if we are interested to use wireless networks, we should be care about these networks. We have to apply different security mechanisms on mobile devices, in mobile networks, to make them safe, to make them secure. It's very important, and it's a challenging operation. It's not easy at all. Every day, some people, some big companies who are working in the field of electronic wars, they are presenting new tools to hijack, to decrypt wireless communications. It's very important. You can simply look around yourself and find different, very different military operations around yourself who are entering, influence, and use who use wireless intrusions in their operation, that operations. Okay. Any question? Okay. I wish the best for you in the rest of this week. Have a good time and goodbye.